Listen closely. This is for you. There is a version of you that must die, not in the physical sense, but in the spiritual, mental, and emotional sense. A version that is clinging to comfort, hiding from truth, resisting change, and sabotaging your future. And if you do not kill that version of you, it will kill your potential. The greatest tragedy of man is not his failure. It is his refusal to evolve. His tolerance for being almost who he's supposed to be. His comfort with being better than average, yet miles from exceptional. Growth is not a matter of luck. It is not an accident. Growth is a duty. And it does not happen when it is convenient. It happens when it is demanded. You must force yourself to outgrow who you've been. Because that old version of you, that was built in survival, that was shaped by fear, that was tolerated by your past, but it cannot be carried into your future. It is not enough to dream of a better life. You must become the person capable of living it. And that becoming is violent. It requires sacrifice. It requires discomfort. It requires daily war with the parts of you that crave ease over excellence. The man you've been is not the man who will take you where you're going. That version of you, complacent, uncertain, distracted, must be broken down. His habits dismantled. His excuses exposed. His story rewritten. Do you want a new life? Then let go of the identity that is addicted to the old one. This transformation will not feel like progress. It will feel like pain. But do not fear that pain. That pain is the sound of your limitations being shattered. It is the scream of your old self-resisting extinction. Let it scream, let it burn, let it go. Because your higher self is waiting, watching, ready to emerge the moment you stop coddling the weaker version of you. The old you wakes up late, the new you dominates mornings. The old you avoids responsibility. The new you seeks it out. The old you escapes through distractions. The new you pursues discipline with obsession. You will never reach your potential while dragging around the corpse of your past identity. You must bury him. And burying him is not done once. It is done daily. Every time you wake up and choose intention over impulse. Every time you move when you don't feel like it. Every time you do the work without applause. Growth is not found in comfort. Growth is not found in motivation. Growth is found in the resistance, in the friction between who you are and who you're becoming. So stop asking for easy. Easy will betray you. Easy is the comfort food of failure. Instead, ask for truth, ask for challenge, ask for the pressure that forges character. Because here is what most will never understand. Your future self, the one who has power, peace, purpose, he is already inside you, but he is trapped under the weight of your current habits. He is suffocating beneath your excuses. He is screaming behind your distractions, and only you can set him free. Not with words, not with dreams, but with daily, disciplined action. You cannot rise while you remain loyal to who you've been. That loyalty must be broken. That version of you, the one who settles, who hides, who hesitates, he must be betrayed. Yes, betrayed. Because that version of you has betrayed your potential long enough. If you want to rise, you must declare war on your lower nature. You must make your old habits uncomfortable, your old excuses unacceptable, your old patterns unbearable. Stop trying to improve that old version of yourself. He's not worth saving. He was never designed for the heights you're about to reach. You must replace him, not with luck, not with hope, but with brutal, disciplined, intentional growth. I tell you this not to inspire you. I tell you this because it is required, because mediocrity has a gravity. And if you don't push against it with everything you've got, it will pull you back. Understand this. Change will cost you your comfort, your pride, your laziness. But staying the same will cost you everything. Your purpose, your peace, your potential, So stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. The only right time is the one you decide. Decide now that you are done negotiating with your limitations. Decide now that your old self no longer gets a vote. Decide now that your life will not be dictated by how you feel, but by what you decide. Because growth does not care how you feel. It responds only to one thing: action. You will feel tired. Keep going. You will feel fear. Push forward. You will feel doubt. Act anyway. Because the only way to silence fear is to outgrow it. The only way to destroy doubt is to drown it in progress. The only way to kill the old version of you is to starve him of indulgence and feed him discomfort. You see, the old you was created by accident, through habits you didn't choose, beliefs you inherited, pain you never processed. But the new you, he will be forged by design. He will not come from comfort. He will be summoned in discomfort, built in silence, sharpened in solitude, and eventually he will rise. Not because he was lucky, but because you were willing. Willing to do what was hard. Willing to be misunderstood. Willing to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. That is the path of all great men. They outgrow their past. They outlast their weakness. They outdiscipline their distractions. They shed their skin to reveal something unrecognizable. That is what you are doing now. This is not reinvention, this is resurrection. And it begins with a decision. I will no longer live in the shell of who I used to be. Because every day you hesitate, the old you wins. Every time you justify your laziness, the old you tightens his grip. Every time you surrender to comfort, you give him one more day of life. Enough. The world does not need another man stuck in his past. The world needs you. The real you, the focused, the fire-breathing, risk-taking, truth-speaking version of you who no longer waits to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. The man who no longer tiptoes around his greatness but owns it without apology. He is not built overnight, but he is built one brick at a time, one decision at a time, one moment of discomfort at a time. And brick by brick you rise. Out of the ashes of your former self, out of the wreckage of your old beliefs, out of the prison of your comfort zone, because you were never meant to stay the same. You were never designed to plateau. You were created for evolution, and evolution is not optional, it is urgent. You either evolve or you decay. You either rise or you rot. You either kill the old version of you or you become him. So choose now, not later. Now, because if you don't outgrow your old life, it will become your graveyard. And you weren't born to die in mediocrity. You were born to build something eternal. But the foundation must be new. The man must be new. The habits must be new. The commitment must be absolute. Nothing less will do. And yes, this will be hard. But hear me. Hard is the path to heaven. Growth is found in resistance. Strength is built in struggle. Mastery is born from repetition. And greatness? Greatness comes to the man who is willing to bury his former self without ceremony. The man who forces himself every single day to outgrow the version he was yesterday. And that man is you. The man who waits for transformation to happen to him is a man who will wait forever. Transformation is not granted, it is taken. You do not wait to evolve, you force evolution through repetition, through pain, through the daily demolition of the thoughts, behaviors, and boundaries that no longer serve your mission. And yes, it will feel unnatural, because you're walking away from the identity that once kept you safe. But safety is not your goal. Strength is. You must begin to question everything the old version of you called normal. Because normal is the enemy. Normal is the cage. Normal is the graveyard of potential. The version of you that hits the snooze button, that avoids responsibility, that scrolls instead of bills, he is not your friend, he is your captor. And the moment you see him clearly is the moment you reclaim your power. You must develop an intolerance for your own excuses, an allergic reaction to your old patterns, a disgust for stagnation so deep that the thought of remaining the same becomes unbearable. That's when the shift happens. When you stop desiring growth and begin demanding it, you do not have the luxury of time. You do not have the privilege of delay. Because while you hesitate, your potential sits in a cell, unchallenged, unused, unlived. Break it out with action, with intensity, with an unshakable daily standard that says, who I was is no longer acceptable. Because who you were may have gotten you this far, but who you must become is non-negotiable if you intend to go further. Do not merely upgrade your habits, overhaul your identity. Stop calling yourself a man of potential. That title expires quickly. Be the man who executes, who finishes, who doesn't dream of transformation, he embodies it. Everything you do must be filtered through this question. Does this align with the man I'm becoming, or does it serve the man I'm outgrowing? Every decision, every action, every word must pass through that filter. Because once you decide to become the next level version of yourself, nothing is casual anymore. Your food, your schedule, your thoughts, your relationships, all of it must support the vision. All of it must serve the upgrade. And you must protect that vision like a lion guards his den. Because doubt will come, distraction will come, the temptation to revert will scream for your attention. Ignore it. When it whispers, just this once, respond, not anymore. When it says, you've done enough today, say, enough for who? The man I was or the man I'm becoming? Because you must understand, the old version of you doesn't leave quietly. He claws, he bargains, he rationalizes. And if you entertain him for one moment, you breathe life back into your limits. This is why I tell you, do not negotiate with your old self. Starve him. Ignore him. Replace him with new rituals, with new beliefs, with new standards so strong they choke out the weakness you once called normal. You do not need more information. You need immersion, complete radical immersion into the life you were meant to live. Read what strengthens you. Listen to what sharpens you. Surround yourself only with those who remind you of your greatness, not your excuses. Audit your circle, because growth will make you outgrow people, and that is not betrayal, it is alignment. Some people will call your change arrogance. Let them. They are addicted to the version of you that made them comfortable, but you did not come this far to remain small for their approval. You came to become fire, and fire does not ask for permission. Fire does not apologize for burning away what cannot come with it. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to rise, and rising requires that you offend your past, that you disrupt your patterns, that you kill off every version of yourself that was built to survive so you can thrive. Yes, kill him. The lazy you, the anxious you, the overthinking you, the insecure you. They were built from past pain, past conditioning, past compromise. They are not who you are. They are who you learn to be. And what is learned can be unlearned, but only through action. Do not try to heal the old version of you. That is not your job anymore. Your job is to replace him with someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who wakes up with purpose and goes to bed with progress. Your job is to show up for your future self like your life depends on it, because it does. Let me tell you the truth. Most will never speak. Success is not kind. It is not soft. It does not make exceptions for emotion. Success demands that you let go of every belief that coddles your weakness. The man who waits to feel ready will never evolve. But the man who moves forward despite fear, he is the man who builds an unshakable legacy. He is the man who no longer operates on motivation but on standards. He is the man who no longer needs approval because he approves of himself. He is the man who no longer asks, "Can I become great?" but instead expects to be great, because he lives in a way that greatness becomes unavoidable. You must become that man. And becoming him is a violent process. It will require that you outwork, outthink, and outlast the version of you that settles. But hear me clearly. It is possible. And not because you're special, but because you are willing. Willing to pay the price in discomfort. Willing to walk alone when necessary. Willing to demand results even when no one is watching. Because that's where your evolution happens. Not when you're celebrated, but when you're disciplined in the dark. Not when you feel like it, but when you act anyway. Not when the crowd claps, but when you applaud yourself for doing what was necessary. And if you keep going long enough, the man who once had potential becomes the man who fulfills it. Because you kept the promise to outgrow the man who feared rejection. The man who stayed small to be accepted. The man who played safe to avoid discomfort. You buried him. And in his place, you built someone undeniable. Someone whose life is proof that discipline is divine. Someone whose habits scream, "I was not born to blend, I was born to break patterns." Because here is the highest truth of all. The most powerful version of you has always been there waiting. Not for luck, not for rescue, but for you to finally stop apologizing for your hunger. And that is what this entire journey is about. Not becoming someone else, but removing everything that isn't you. The fear, not you. The excuses, not you. The laziness, not you. Those are hand-me-down behaviors from a former self who didn't know his own power. But now you know. And when you know, you can never go back. You may falter. You may stumble. But you do not retreat. Because you have seen too much, felt too much, evolved too much. There is no going back. There is only up. So rise one more time, one more level, one more version. And this time make the decision that this version of you, the focused one, the bold one, the one who forces himself to grow, this one stays. There is no greater war than the one between who you were and who you are destined to be. And that war is not fought once. It is fought every morning, every decision, every act of resistance against the voice that says, "Stay the same." But let me tell you what the world won't. Staying the same is suffering disguised as safety. The man who refuses to grow is not avoiding pain, he's only choosing a slower, quieter form of it. Stagnation feels safe until you realize the cost. Until you wake up one day surrounded by mediocrity, buried in regret, and haunted by the man you could have been. That's why I tell you now, be ruthless with your evolution. Don't just outgrow the old you. Bury him beneath a mountain of discipline and new standards so high he could never climb back. Because you must understand, the process of becoming unrecognizable is not poetic, it's not romantic, it's violent, and it must be. If you are going to be reborn, the old must be burned. That means no more negotiating with your patterns. That means no more conversations with doubt. That means no more romanticizing your distractions, justifying your inaction, or excusing your softness. You are either ascending or rotting. You are either leading yourself with ruthless focus or following your impulses into decay. And if you want freedom, real freedom, the kind few ever taste, it only comes through discipline. It only comes when your standards are so high that your old self gasps for air in their presence. He cannot survive in your new environment because your new environment is built for performance, is built for power, for purpose, for persistence, and your old identity. He's allergic to that level of expectation. Let him suffocate. Let the weak man die. The one who said tomorrow. The one who waited to feel inspired. The one who repeated the same year again and again and called it growth. He was never going to take you anywhere. He was a placeholder, a shadow of who you were meant to be. But now you lead. You are no longer a passenger in your own story. You have taken the wheel, and with that power comes responsibility to execute, to endure, to evolve without asking permission. You don't need support. You don't need consensus. You need standards, because a man with standards does not need to be motivated. His life moves in alignment with his decisions. Every action, every step, every breath measured against one question: does this serve the man I am becoming? If yes, it stays. If no, it dies. That's how you grow. You subtract, you strip, you sever, until only truth remains, until only strength remains. And in that space, the new you emerges not just more powerful, but unshakable. Because when you've killed every excuse, every weak identity, every self-limiting belief, what's left is a man who cannot be broken. A man whose results are not random, they are engineered. A man who doesn't hope for success, he expects it. Because he lives in a way that demands it. And that expectation, it rewires your world, it shapes your posture, your voice, your presence. People feel it. They may not know what's changed, but they'll know something has. Because you'll no longer carry the weight of who you used to be. You'll walk in the power of who you chose to become. And in that moment, you no longer speak to life like a beggar. You speak like a builder. You say, this is my standard, this is my path, this is my legacy. And anything that does not align with that, be it habit, relationship, or thought, will not survive. Yes, there will be grief in the process. Grief for the man you used to be. The one who was liked, accepted, predictable, but you must grieve him fast because he was keeping you average. And you were not built for average. You were built to embody fire, to carve your name into history with work ethic and vision and unbreakable will. You were built to lead your life like a general commands an army, with clarity, with presence, with intentional violence against anything that dares threaten the mission. And what is the mission? To become the man no one thought you could be, especially the man you used to be. That is your duty now. Not to outshine others, not to prove the doubters wrong, but to prove your highest self right. He is watching, he is waiting, he is whispering, don't stop, don't slip, don't settle. Because he knows what's at stake. He knows what happens if you slow down, if you go soft, if you forget why you started. The old version of you wins. And if he wins, you lose everything. That is the battle. That is the war. And that is why you must go further than you've ever gone. You must push through fatigue with fury. You must rise in pain with precision. You must move in fear with faith. Because faith is not just spiritual, faith is strategic. It is the belief that if you keep showing up, keep showing discipline, keep killing off what no longer belongs, then the life you seek will be forced to manifest. It will not be given. It will not be gifted. It will be dragged into existence by the man who outgrew every weaker version of himself and never looked back. That is you. The man who stopped waiting for growth and chose to force it. The man who bled out his excuses and stood tall in their absence. The man who mastered his impulses, his schedule, his mind, until success became predictable. You see, real transformation is not a moment. It is a series of moments where you chose courage over comfort, clarity over confusion, creation over convenience. And that choice, it becomes your identity. So don't stop now, not when you're this close, because the final test is always the loudest. Your old self will scream, your fatigue will grow, the pressure will mount. But that's not a sign to quit. It's a signal. It means the old you is on life support. One more push, one more refusal to give in, one more hour of action with no audience, no applause, no approval, and he's gone. You will have replaced him, not with someone who has it all figured out, but with someone who refuses to stop figuring it out. That man, He is unstoppable. That man, he is inevitable. That man, he is you. And now, as you move forward, understand this. There is no finish line. There is no final version. Because outgrowing the old you is not a phase. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily death and a daily resurrection. It is a relentless commitment to never retreat, never repeat, never recycle who you've already been. It is a vow that says, I will never be caught living as a shadow of my potential again. That vow is not emotional. It is strategic. It is structural. It is built into your schedule, your habits, your non-negotiables, and it pays you in peace, in power, in presence. You walk taller, speak clearer, lead stronger, because you know you earned it. You earned it in sweat, in silence, in solitude. You earned it by forcing yourself to outgrow what was safe, what was soft, what was familiar. And now, you no longer resemble the man you were. You don't just have better habits. You don't just have a stronger mind. You don't just have more discipline. You have become someone else entirely. And that someone, he doesn't chase success. He attracts it. Because he is success in motion. There is something about a man who has found his center. He walks into a room, and though he may not say a word, the room begins to respond. Not to his title, not to his appearance, not even to his words, but to the invisible force that surrounds him. That force is his aura, and it is either the most potent asset he carries or the greatest liability he neglects. Your aura is a living declaration of who you are, not who you say you are, but who you actually are. And when that aura is strong, when it is trained, when it is purified through discipline, conviction, and vision, it becomes too powerful for most people to handle. But do not let that intimidate you. Let it inspire you, because the power of your aura is not to be feared, it is to be refined. It is not to be suppressed for the comfort of others, it is to be mastered for the fulfillment of your mission. You must understand. People may compliment your words, they may praise your work, they may be impressed by your skills, but it is your energy they remember. It is your presence that lingers after you've left. And the cultivation of that presence is no accident. It is deliberate, it is forged. You build your aura through the private decisions that most never see. You build it in the moments when you want to quit but choose persistence. You build it in the face of criticism when you choose grace. You build it in the silence of study, in the solitude of discipline, in the crucible of purpose. A man's aura is nothing more than the broadcast of his character. And character is not born in public, it is built in private. Every day you are radiating. Every interaction, every choice, every silence, every movement is transmitting something. And the question you must ask is this: what am I transmitting? Am I radiating insecurity or certainty? Am I broadcasting fear or faith? Am I leaking doubt or projecting confidence? Because whatever you are radiating, you are attracting. You cannot fake frequency. You cannot pretend your way into authenticity. You can speak all the right words, wear all the right clothes, earn all the right accolades, but if your energy is out of alignment, the world will feel it, and more importantly, you will feel it. The most powerful aura is not loud, it is aligned. Not noisy, it is noble. Not arrogant, it is anchored. Anchored in purpose, anchored in truth, anchored in self-mastery. Many men never access this level of presence because they are too busy performing for the world instead of preparing within. They are addicted to the applause of others and starved of internal approval. But when you become a man who no longer needs validation to move, when you can walk in silence with conviction, when you can smile without seeking to be seen, that is when your aura begins to rise. That is when people begin to notice something about you that they cannot name but cannot ignore. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. You need to be clear. Clear on who you are, clear on what you will and will not allow, clear on what your life is here to represent. This clarity eliminates confusion, and confused people are always intimidated by those who are sure. That's why when your aura begins to grow, some will misread you. They will call you arrogant, distant, even cold. But do not allow their projections to distort your direction. You are not too much. You are simply no longer willing to be too little. You see, your aura is not meant to be digestible for everyone. It is not meant to be palatable to the average. It is not supposed to make everyone comfortable. In fact, the more refined your aura becomes, the more discomfort it will create in those who are not willing to confront themselves. That is not your burden. That is their opportunity. You are not here to shrink. You are here to shine. But let us be clear. Shining does not mean pretending. It means becoming. It means aligning your actions with your values. It means showing up with the same strength in private that you carry in public. It means honoring your word even when no one is watching. It means saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It means keeping promises to yourself that no one else will ever applaud you for. That kind of consistency builds a force field around you, a vibrational integrity that cannot be faked, cannot be bought, cannot be copied. And that force field, that is what makes your aura magnetic. You've heard it said, energy doesn't lie. And I am here to tell you, neither does alignment. When you are aligned with your purpose, your energy speaks with clarity. You do not have to announce yourself. You do not have to explain yourself. You simply walk in and people feel something shift. Because your aura is not just the result of who you are, it is the evidence of who you've chosen to become. Most people don't understand that your presence is earned. It is earned through pain transmuted into power, through failure redefined as feedback, through delay embraced as development. Your presence grows every time you remain faithful in the fire, every time you choose vision over validation, every time you remain calm when others panic. And when you have enough of these moments stacked behind your soul, you no longer have to try to impress anyone. You simply are. You are steady. You are grounded. You are radiant. And that radiance cannot be replicated because it was paid for with pressure. It was forged in fire. It was built in the trenches. And that's why it feels so rare, so unshakable, so undeniably real. Do not apologize for that kind of presence. Do not apologize when others don't understand you. Do not apologize when your stillness disturbs their chaos. Do not apologize when your standards convict their complacency. You are not here to manage their comfort. You are here to model what alignment looks like. You are here to be the quiet proof that power is not in performance, but in presence. And if you stay the course, if you continue to refine your mind, protect your energy, and discipline your decisions, you will discover a truth that few ever encounter. Your aura will begin to work for you. It will speak on your behalf. It will attract the right people, the right rooms, the right results. Not because you're hustling harder, but because you're vibrating higher. Not because you're striving, but because you're aligned. This is what it means to walk in the fullness of your presence. To show up with nothing to prove and everything to offer. To carry silence that teaches. To radiate peace that transforms. To be so rooted in purpose that the winds of circumstance no longer shake you. And when you become that man, you will no longer wonder how to attract what you desire, because it will already be following you. Why? Because your aura always leads. It leads before your words. It leads before your work. It leads before your talent, your title, or your timing. It is the sum total of your energy, your integrity, your clarity, your consistency. And when those are in order, the world cannot help but respond. You must never forget that people feel you before they understand you. They feel your certainty before they hear your credentials. They feel your presence before they process your words. That's why I've said over and over again, what you carry inside is more important than what you show outside. Your aura is the signal of your inner world. And if your mind is divided, your energy will be confusing. If your priorities are compromised, your presence will be weak. But if your mind is clear and your spirit is clean, your aura becomes undeniable. This is why personal power begins with private purification. You cannot lead externally what you have not mastered internally. You cannot command respect if you do not first respect yourself. You cannot expect others to believe in you if you are still negotiating your own worth. And this is why aura, true, unshakable, powerful aura, requires total honesty, brutal self-examination. The courage to remove anything from your life that does not reflect the man you are becoming. Because aura is not about impressing people, it's about expressing alignment. It is about radiating the man you've been sculpting in silence. It's not about showing off, it's about showing up fully, consistently, authentically, without apology. Because you've done the work, you've confronted the lies, you've faced the fears, you've paid the price, and now you carry the presence. People may not always like it, many will not understand it, but even your critics will respect it because real energy cannot be denied. And what is this presence made of? It is made of standards, the kind of standards that don't waver based on who's watching. The kind of standards that hold up when you're tired, when you're tempted, when you're tested. Standards that are anchored in principle, not popularity. It is made of emotional control. The kind of control that allows you to remain calm in conflict, composed in challenge, and clear in chaos. Not because you suppress emotion, but because you've disciplined it. It is made of confidence, but not the kind that needs to be loud. Not the kind that's afraid of silence. Not the kind that needs to win every argument. No, the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing who you are, from knowing why you're here, from knowing what you bring. And most importantly, it is made of vision. Because without vision, your aura has no direction. Without vision, your energy has no target. Without vision, you'll exhaust yourself trying to impress people who are not part of your calling. But when you are guided by vision, every step becomes intentional. Every room you enter is strategic. Every word you speak is laced with purpose. And that purpose, that is what people feel. It's what sets you apart from the average man. The average man walks in hoping to be accepted. The man of purpose walks in ready to serve, ready to elevate, ready to lead. Not because he needs attention, but because he's aligned with his assignment. Let me tell you this, and let it sink deep. You are not for everyone, and that is your power. You are not supposed to be accessible to every environment, every relationship, every circle, every conversation. You are not supposed to be digestible for the average thinker. You are not supposed to be liked by everyone you meet. Because if your aura is truly rooted in purpose, it will naturally challenge people who are still living in fear. And when that happens, you have two choices. You can shrink or you can shine. You can conform or you can continue. You can compromise or you can carry the truth you've been entrusted with. If you truly desire to carry uncommon energy, you must make peace with being misunderstood. You must let go of the need to explain your evolution to those committed to stagnation. You must accept that your vibration will unsettle people who have never met someone unshakable, and when that moment comes, do not flinch, do not fold. Stand tall in your frequency, because your aura is not just for you, it's for the people watching, it's for the ones learning through your example how to rise. You are a walking invitation for others to raise their standard, to refine their thoughts, to elevate their posture. That is what you carry. And if you hide that light, you rob the world of what only you can radiate. So how do you protect this energy? You protect it through discipline. Discipline over your mouth, over your calendar, over your emotions, over your thoughts. You cannot afford to think like the crowd and expect to lead it. You cannot afford to speak like the crowd and expect to influence it. You must become so intentional that every habit, every relationship, every conversation reflects the man you've decided to become. You protect it through solitude, time spent away from noise, away from opinions, away from influence, Solitude is where you sharpen your edge, where you align with your values, where you remind yourself that everything you need is already within. It's where your aura gets recalibrated. You protect it through boundaries, not as punishment, but as protection. Because not every request deserves your response. Not every opportunity aligns with your assignment. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. The man of aura does not go where he is simply invited. He goes where he is aligned. And most of all, you protect it through purpose. When your eyes are fixed on a purpose greater than yourself, you no longer waste energy on petty things. You stop explaining. You stop reacting. You stop being dragged into nonsense. You rise, and every time you rise, your aura strengthens. It becomes less about impressing people and more about impacting the world. I've told you before, people do not follow noise, they follow clarity, they follow congruence. They follow someone whose life reflects their values, whose words match their walk, whose stillness reveals strength. That is you. You are becoming that man. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to mimic. You are not here to perform. You are here to embody power, quiet power, real power, purposeful power. So walk like it, speak like it, stand like it, think like it, and the right people will rise with you. The right doors will open before you. The right results will chase you down. Not because of what you do, but because of who you've become. This is the secret of the aura. It is not built through striving, it is built through becoming. And when you become the man you were born to be, your energy will speak for you. It will lead before you arrive. It will protect when you are silent. It will attract what you no longer need to chase. Because your aura will now be operating as an agent of destiny. And destiny always responds to alignment. There will come a day, if it hasn't already, when you realize that the way people treat you has less to do with your appearance, your accolades, or your words, and everything to do with the energy you carry. You will notice that respect enters the room with you, not because you demanded it, but because you have become it. You will sense that people look to you, not out of fear, not out of fanfare, but because something about you says, here is a man who knows who he is. And that knowing, that conviction, that inner foundation is the substance of your aura. It is the invisible infrastructure of power that surrounds you. And it cannot be inherited. It cannot be bought. It must be built. You build it with choices. Not once, but daily. You build it by showing up when it's inconvenient, by staying silent when it's tempting to speak, by forgiving when it would be easier to fight, by holding your standard when no one else can see why it matters. Every one of these choices adds a layer to your character. And character is the essence of presence. The world is filled with men who talk, but the world is transformed by men who carry. Men who carry peace when the room is restless. Men who carry vision when others are blind. Men who carry the light when the atmosphere is heavy. This is what your aura was made for, not to decorate, but to deliver. Not to impress, but to inspire. Not to perform, but to project a frequency of wholeness. People will forget what you say. They will forget what you do, but they will not forget how you made them feel. And when your aura is authentic, when it is forged in discipline and truth, it will leave a mark on every soul it touches. But let me give you this warning. The stronger your presence becomes, the more your absence will be felt. The more others will crave your energy, even if they don't understand why. And if you're not careful, you will begin to pour from your essence into vessels that were never meant to carry you. You will begin to leak energy trying to heal people who refuse to grow. You will find yourself tired, not because your purpose is too heavy, but because your boundaries are too weak. So hear me now. You must protect your presence, not with ego, not with arrogance, but with sacred discipline. You must become unavailable to anything that threatens your clarity, to anyone who cannot honor your peace, to any habit, any distraction, any compromise that would diminish your power. Because once your aura is clean, it will attract everything it was designed to carry and repel everything it was never meant to entertain. And in that clarity, you will no longer chase. You will no longer explain. You will no longer hustle to be seen. You will simply radiate. You will walk through life knowing that you are tuned to a frequency few understand, but many need. Let me remind you, your aura is not meant for popularity. It is meant for purpose. And that purpose is not always comfortable. Sometimes it will isolate you. Sometimes it will make others uncomfortable. Sometimes it will cost you relationships, opportunities, and praise. But it will never cost you your soul. And that is the true measure of success. Not the noise you make, but the peace you keep. Not the fame you gather, but the impact you leave. Not the image you project, but the man you become when no one is watching. You do not become this man by accident. You become him by devotion, devotion to the invisible work, devotion to your highest self, devotion to principles that will not bend under pressure, devotion to a mission bigger than your comfort. This devotion is your edge. It is what makes you uncommon. And uncommon men do not live on common frequencies. They do not give their attention to gossip. They do not surrender their time to the trivial. They do not argue with those committed to misunderstanding. They know who they are, they know where they're going, and they know that the path to legacy is walked in quiet mastery. You are not a man of reaction. You are a man of rhythm. You are not a man of chaos. You are a man of control. You are not a man of noise. You are a man of knowing. And this knowing, that calm, that confidence, that clarity, that is your weapon. Not to fight others, but to conquer yourself. Because the greatest victory you will ever win is not over men, but over your own mind. When you can walk into a room full of conflict and stay composed, you are powerful. When you can hold your tongue in the face of insult, you are in control. When you can choose solitude over approval, you are leading. When you can serve without needing to be seen, you are walking in purpose. This is the man you are becoming. A man whose aura does the talking. A man who leads not just with plans, but with presence. A man who does not need to prove his strength because it radiates from every choice he makes. And let me tell you something more. When you truly carry this energy, the right people will find you. You will not need to chase them. They will recognize you, not by what you say, not by your achievements, but by the peace they feel around you, the safety, the certainty, the way your energy calms storms instead of creating them. This is the reward of the quiet work. This is the payoff for doing what others avoid. This is the legacy of the unshakable man. And legacy, my friend, is not something you leave. It is something you carry. You carry it in your walk, in your tone, in your silence, in your standards, in your ability to remain unmoved while others seek shelter. Because when you carry your aura with integrity, the world adjusts itself around you. You no longer bend to pressure. You no longer break from resistance. You stand, and standing, you shine. And shining, you lead. And leading, you change the atmosphere. Not through manipulation, but through magnetism. Not through domination, but through presence. Not through performance, but through essence. This is the secret the world does not teach, but I'm here to remind you. You do not need to become more. You need to become clear. Clear in your values. Clear in your vision. Clear in your voice. Clear in your energy. Because clarity is power. And when your aura reflects that clarity, you become unstoppable. So carry it. Carry your truth. Carry your light. Carry your discipline. Carry your peace. And know that those who cannot handle it were never meant to hold it. But those who can, they will rise because of it. Because your aura, when pure, when powerful, when protected, becomes a mirror for others to find their strength. And that, my friend, is your greatest contribution. Be that mirror. Be that presence. Be that frequency. And let your life speak louder than your voice ever could. Because the world is listening not to your noise, but to your energy. And your energy? It is too powerful to be ignored. Let it speak. Let it lead. Let it change everything.